time ago in a galaxy far, far away. No, wait, that's a different story. This one happened here. Something incredible happened. On March 4th, 1960, at 1:06 in the morning, a meteorite tore through the sky and landed near my favorite town.
Bruderheim, Alberta.
Hold on, a meteor what?
No. A meteorite is a piece of rock from space that lands on Earth.
The flash of light it makes while burning up in the atmosphere is called a meteor. That's what we know as a shooting star.
The space rock traveled at 42 kilometers per second. Its flash witnessed by hundreds of people as far away as the Rocky Mountain region of British Columbia. The giant rock detonated, creating a sound shockwave audible over 5,000 square kilometers. The sonic boom rattled windows, shook the foundations of homes, and startled families from their sleep. I wonder what that would have been like.
It was kind of like a grayish blackish, I think. It's a big round ball.
Yeah.
And then not giant. It had little bumps on it.
Yeah, and it was all oranges, reddish.
Let's ask someone who was around at the time.
Well, actually, it was my daughter, who was not quite two, was restless, and I got up to see what was bothering her. And while I was standing by her bed, there was this light, and it seemed to fill the whole yard and the streets. Rhonda settled down, and I went back to bed and didn't know what it was until early the next morning when it was on the news. It is exciting. There's no two ways about it. It sort of lets us into what is in the universe. It's a tiny, tiny window into the universe.
I saw my mother probably the day after the meteorite came through, and she had got up for some reason or other during the middle of the night. It was bright and also the noise, and so she thought the end of the world was coming. I've collected a whole bunch of rocks, and they're interesting. I wish I had a Bruderheim meteorite rock.
The interesting part of the Bruderheim meteorite that I remember is the noise that it made as it passed over our house out on the farm. We heard it coming before we saw the light, which is unusual, but the noise woke us up, and my sister, my mother and father, and myself were all standing by our bedroom windows looking out. The windows faced east, and watched this huge streak of light go across the sky, and then heard obviously what was the landing or the crash, and had no idea what it was. Thought it may have been a plane, thought it may have been, some rocket ship or something. So the next day we found out that it was a meteorite, and caused quite a lot of excitement in the area at that point in time.
Shards of the stone rained down just north of Bruderheim, some forming pits as wide as 60 centimeters and as deep as 30 centimeters. Many bounced off the frozen ground and landed on the snow. Local farmers found the fragments in boulders in their barnyards and fields, the largest weighing more than 60 pounds. One farmer was surprised to find meteorite fragments only a few feet from his front porch.
This is the meteor that fell on March 4th, 1960. And it was a cool day.
It took it to Lamont. He had no idea what it was. He took it to Lamont, and from there, the guy knew what happened because he heard the radio. My grandpa never listened on the radio much, so. And within hours, there was people coming out to the farm looking for more pieces. our neighbor across, like their neighbor across the road, he found a way bigger piece than this. There's people, like he said, maybe miles on each side of the road, people coming out and searching, and other people found pieces of it, bigger pieces.
People from all around went on a hunt by air and land, searching for the dark stones on the snow. Nearly 700 meteorite fragments were found, with a total weight of over 660 pounds. That's the largest recovered fall in Canadian history, and were later distributed to museums and research facilities around the world.
That is so cool!
People take this space stuff really seriously.
I don't get it.
Me neither.
What happened then? Why is the Bruderheim meteorite so important?
I hear people in university are pretty smart. Let's ask them.
So we're here in the meteorite curation facility, which is a fancy way of saying this is where the meteorites are kept at the University of Alberta. These cabinets have most of the meteorite collection, all 1,100 samples from all over the world, including several drawers worth of the Bruderheim meteorite. There were originally something like 300 and some kilograms that were collected of the Bruderheim meteorite, and we have, over the years, the university has traded some of that for other meteorites from other places in the world, the way that you do baseball cards or hockey cards in some ways. And then, but we still have over 145 kilograms in the collection today, including the really notable ones, especially the very first one that was ever found. So you can see here we actually have a very nice example that has this really dark fusion crust, which is where it comes, which is the result of it coming in from the atmosphere, through the atmosphere, and the outside heating up and melting. And it covers most of it, but in some spots you can see where that's broken off, and you can see the kind of concrete gray interior of the rock itself, which is pretty typical for Bruderheim meteorites. And we have lots of significant ones, including this one, which is the very first one that was ever found on the Broda farm. So you can imagine that would stand out pretty well on the snow in his yard. The way of doing things was to separate things out, and so a lot of stuff was crushed up into these pieces. But even so, even with that, we still have a lot of pieces that are still available for study today and in the future. And you can kind of make out these little round things. Those are what we call the chondrules. And chondrules are they were once little droplets that were melted, kind of like lava, but free floating in space, not in a volcano. So actually sitting in space at the very beginning of the solar system, going around the sun, and melting and then forming a little droplet, a solid droplet from that. And that's what these chondrites are made out of. So they're the oldest thing that you'll ever touch. They're the oldest thing. They're 4.5 billion years old from the very, very beginning of the solar system. There's no other rock on the Earth that's as old as this rock right here. So they tell us about what was happening right at the beginning of the solar system in the area of the asteroid belt. So once the chondrules came together and the metal and things came together, they would come together to make, in bigger and bigger pieces, to make a great big asteroid that would be orbiting around the sun in the asteroid belt. And then you might get two asteroids hitting each other and pieces breaking off, and one of those pieces would have made its way around the sun and then to the Earth, would fall to the ground as a meteorite. And that's essentially what happened on March 4th, 1960. You had a chunk of an asteroid on its journey through the solar system happen to run into the Earth in the middle of the night and then explode over Bruderheim. And so one of the things that's really amazing about this collection is that we have, this is one of the Bruderheim meteorites that was collected. And what they did was, over in lab in physics, they made this custom vacuum tube. So there's no air inside here, which means that all the metal in here looks exactly the same way as it did when it first fell. And it was incredible foresight on the part of the scientists studying them, because it leaves a legacy that we could actually work with this kind of sample in the future and know that it's as good as it was when they first fell. Bruderheim happened at a time, I think, that was kind of really optimal. 1960 was really the start of the space age. We had Sputnik, kick off the race between the US and the Soviet Union to put things into space. We had the challenge to put men on the moon. And we had people looking at these rocks in a new light saying, hey, these are actually rocks from space, and we're getting ready for samples to come back from the moon. This is the best stuff to be working on. Trading meteorites for other meteorites, it's helped to grow this collection into one of the top 3 in Canada, and a very significant collection in the world. So just because of that opportunity, before the Bruderheim meteorite fell, there were really just a handful of meteorites in the collection. So the Bruderheim kicked off the growth of the University of Alberta collection to what it is today.
It made a thunderous appearance in the night sky over Bruderheim, and shocked a lot of people, and amazed some people, woke the whole neighborhood up and lit up the sky across Canada, and folks from a long ways away heard the boom and saw the flash. I think this is important for our community. We get a chance to celebrate our community, celebrate a historic event, a scientifically important event, and to allow people to have pride in our community. That's the most important thing for me.
It's kind of interesting to think that aliens once visited Bruderheim. It's an alien rock. Right. Yeah, just a rock. Wait, what was that?
It was just us. Happy.
Happy.
What happened?
Oh, sorry.
Be sure you wipe that one out then.
What happened? You guys are laughing. What is it? I heard a rumble last night when I was sleeping.
Yeah, me too.
And it might have been the meteor.
Yeah.